fuel that cleans your engine kilometer after kilometer. Total Excellium, the fuel that cleans your engine kilometer after kilometer. Total Excellium, the fuel that cleans your engine kilometer after kilometer.
Watching out for the next day. What's happening, guys?
Well, it's been a long weekend. We are back. There's a lot to do, lots of stories and action to be taken by all and sundry.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's get into the headlines.
Starting with the Ghanaian Times, GES vows to crack whip on wayward promiscuous teachers. Muslims hail government for construction of AstroTurf Park for Eid prayers. Colleges of education to become varsity colleges in September, says the president. And no Ghana card for minority MP, says the NIA.
The Daily Graphic, Otumfor Ochehene in historic meeting. Bator Hospital develops apps for cervical cancer diagnosis. MTN to stagger share proceeds repatriation, and Global Customs Conference applauds Ghana's single window system.
The Ghanaian Observer also leads with Ochehene and Otumfor story, leading with the headline, Akufo-Addo unites Otumfor and Ochehene. Also, colleges of education to become varsities, says the president. Government committed to your welfare. Akufo-Addo to Muslims, and Muslims commend Lord Comey for Wembley AstroTurf.
The Daily Guide, Rawlings jabs NDC's Anita, says she's a crook. Otumfor hosts Nana Ochehene. Ibrahim fights bauxite case, and Baumia tackles Mahama.
The Chronicle, war on corruption, MPP chair blows cover of GES boss, and Baumia hits hard at Mahama over Citi dollar tweet.
The Daily Statesman, government triggers policy response to tackle no-bed deaths in hospitals. Occupy Ghana proposes solution. CD most stable under Akufo-Addo, ignorant propaganda fails Mahama. There's a picture of the president, Otumfor II, and Ochehene on the front page as well. And the big story, colleges of education begin degree programs in September.
The New Crusading Guide, Baumia schools Mahama on Citi performance, says ex-president lacks understanding of key aspects of the economy. My wife is clean, Kennedy Japan, and Sukura Muslim shower praises on Lord Comey over AstroTurf pitch.
The Daily Heritage, expose state security threats. President urges Muslims. My hands are clean, Koklobite Manche tells critics. And Commander Sugar Factory decaying, chief laments, describes neglect as distasteful.
The Today newspaper, tore in tatters, workers cry over delayed salaries and allowances. Sukura Muslims Lord Comey, DCE hot as customers chase him for their monies.
The Independent, Akufo-Addo has done more in 18 months than past governments in 8 years. Baumia, Occupy Ghana calls for the setup of an emergency response system in Ghana.
The Gold Street Business, MPA saves 1.8 million Ghana cedis preventing petroleum smuggling, amount accumulated in 8 months. Port inspection agencies to be slashed to 3, says the Vice President. And GIS 5-year strategic plan requires 473 million Ghana cedis.
The BNFT, rate of business failure unacceptable. Awao charges academia to change narrative. Savings and loans companies suffer identity crisis as sector lacks policy direction. And the biggest threat to the Africa Free Trade Agreement is ourselves. Togbe Afede speaking.
The Informer leads with robbery terror at Koforidua. Police demand money to commence investigations. And Communications Ministry indulges in cock and bull story over Kelny GVG.
Now the business day, Dangote takes over Ghana's oil market. No washrooms for bank customers.
Wow.
Illegal mining, poisoning water, land and food.
Still?
Yeah.
The Finder, 16 port agencies cut to 3 as 43% of containers get cleared in 24 hours. Government committed to the welfare of Muslims, says the president, and city depreciation. Mahama lacks understanding. And finally, 3 armed robbers jailed 180 years in Koforidua.
There's a lot of stories online, and I'm going to start with citybusinessnews.com. Fuel prices to drop again this week. Also, we need an authority to propel Petroleum Hub project. This is Amin. And OMC's push for full employment under cylinder recirculation module. Now, if you go to citinewsroom.com, Ochene escapes unhurt after car crash at Ankasi. Also, responsible fatherhood is a must, says Chairman Rawlings. And we will challenge moves to dissolve GFA, according to a club executive of Elmina Sharks. And minority considering legal action over fake Ghana cards. All those on citinewsroom.com. My Joy Online, I was asked to pay 150,000 cedis to cancel screen of Anan's expose. Nyanteche tells the styles of the story. Also, vintage Mexico stand defending champions Germany at the World Cup. And Mama lacks understanding. Baumia responds to CD depreciation tweet. BBC Africa leads with Aquarius migrants welcomed in Spain. Suicide attacks killed 31 in Nigeria. And violence hits Eritrean cycle festival. Okay, let's get into the details.
Let's start with the Daily Statesman. Government triggers policy response. This is on the no bed issue. The story says that the Ministry of Health has set up a 6-member committee to investigate administrative and care failures surrounding the death last week of Prince Antonio Poku Echampong after he was turned away from 7 hospitals in the Accra metropolitan area. It will report back to the Minister of Health, Kweku Adjumamenu, by the end of this month. A senior source at the ministry said a further panel of experts will be convened to determine a set of policy responses to revive and revamp Ghanaian public health care. The aim will be to address systemic blockages that have produced repeated tragedies in our hospitals, notably the case of Prince Echampong, Baby John, and the wife of the Deputy Attorney General, Joseph Penka. Now, the story said the sector's Achilles heel remains a lack of resources. Emergency care is particularly badly affected. Ghana has between 50 and 60 ambulances in working order to cater for a population of over 28 million. Now, there is more to this story. It says, meanwhile, Occupy Ghana, a civil society group, has proposed a number of measures to address the situation. They include the development of an emergency response service with a command center that fields calls, receives data from hospitals about bed counts, and relays such data to other facilities for them to know what to do. The center should also be able to send out ambulances and paramedics to assist, stabilize, and if needed, transport patients to appropriate hospitals.
While we're at it, there was a WhatsApp video of another CHIPS compound or hospital which has been done somewhere near Ofanko, left to rot.
We reported on that particular story on the 26th of January.
Yes, and there's
on
been
the
a
show.
Yes,
27th, we spoke to the health officials, and they said they were going to work on it.
I remember we even interviewed the former ministers.
Yep.
The point though is that somebody who lived in the area went to take another video of the air condition unit which had been stolen because the center was still not open 6 months after we filed that report.
And the sad part is that this project was part of the Pokuasi Awushi Road construction. It was part of the projects that were done to relieve the society of certain pressures, and we're still not using
We'll go back to it.
Well, still on the issues of lack of resources in the health sector, in the Ghanaian time, Ghana faces blood supply deficit. So the demand for blood in Ghana outstrips supply as the nation collects only 160,000 units of blood to serve the estimated national requirement of 270,000 units of blood annually. Presently, the nation has a blood supply deficit of 40%, which presents a constant need for blood to help save lives of patients in emergency and non-emergency situations. Dr. Justina Ansah, CEO of the National Blood Service Ghana, said giving blood voluntarily and repeatedly was key to sustaining the supply of adequate safe blood and blood products for the country.
Let's go to education now. Page 32 of the Daily Graphic. Colleges of education to become university colleges from September. President Akufo-Addo. The story says beginning from the 2018-2019 academic year, all colleges of education will be upgraded to university colleges. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has stated. Additionally, from September 2018, a 4-year Bachelor of Education degree will be introduced in the university colleges. According to the President, these colleges will initially be affiliated to the University of Cape Coast and subsequently to other public universities. This means that eventually a first degree will be the minimum requirement for teaching at any level of our educational system. The President was delivering the keynote address at the 170th anniversary of the Presbyterian College of Education in Ekropon in the Eastern region. So
when they say a college, university college, how different is that from a university? Or is a university affiliated to another one?
Well, yes. So as the story said, it's affiliated to the University of Cape Coast. Now, they run 3-year diploma courses.
Okay.
But from September, they'll run a 4-year Bachelor of Education.
So President Mahama converted polytechnics to technical universities. President Akufo-Addo will convert College of Education to university colleges. So now when we put together all the universities in the country, they will be in...
We'll have a lot more.
A lot more.
Yes.
Do you know how many colleges of education we have?
I can get you that number. I don't know offhand, but we have quite a lot.
Interesting.
Now, the story goes on to describe why there's a need for something like this.
Tell me.
It says that currently many teachers who complete the 3-year diploma in basic education program at the colleges of education go on later to do a 2-year top affairs degree by distance learning at the UCC. This means that in addition to the extra amount of money spent on getting a degree, it takes trainee teachers not less than 5 years to get degrees. So this will reduce their stress.
Very interesting. Let's continue.
Whilst 2 more stories on education in the Ghanaian Times. Wayward teachers who engage in relationships with students will suffer swift and ruthless consequences. The Volta Regional Director of the GES, Miss Enyunam Afi Amafuga, has warned. She said that the GES has an ethical code which does not endorse inappropriate relationships between teachers and students, and once they are violated, the laid down disciplinary action will follow without delay and compromise. She was speaking at the 10th anniversary celebration and 2018 graduation Durbar of the Wallace Academy in Ho on Saturday. Also, Minister for Gender and Children and Social Protection, Miss Otiku Efisa Jaba, has called on African leaders to invest financially in the development of policies for children to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Ms. Jabba said it was imperative for African leaders to consciously mainstream issues of child welfare and development in its programs to protect their rights and save them from abuse. The minister made this call in Accra on the weekend in a speech read on her behalf at a symposium to mark the Day of the African Child.
Now, you missed the story in health on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. Bator Hospital develops apps for cervical cancer diagnosis. This is a good one.
Apps, yep.
Doreen Ando from Bator reports that the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Frimpong Boateng, has launched 3 locally developed mobile application software that will enhance cervical cancer diagnosis, prevention and management in the country. They are the Cervical Cancer Prevention and Training Center, CCPTC, Mobile Colposcopy app, the CCPTC Cervical Ablative Treatment app, and the CPTC Coloscopy Report Sheet app. These 3 apps are expected to equip healthcare professionals with the necessary technology to comprehensively screen, detect, analyze, and treat cervical cancer. They are available on Play Store, provide all healthcare workers with assistance as the condition of a person whose data are fed into the system, and provides recommendations and guidelines for prevention and treatment. This is really good. Still in graphic, Otumfo Ochene in historic meeting. This story is on page 3.
Yeah.
Their photos made the rounds on the
Social media
over the weekend, and I think that their bow tie are really, really nice.
Yeah.
The Daniel Kenu reports from Kumasi that the perceived rancor between Asantini, Otumfo said to the second Ochene of Sajifo Amwecho for Penny, gave way to affection and goodwill when the 2 traditional rulers had some historic engagements in Kumasi last Saturday. In a move that was enthusiastically welcomed by observers, the 2 performed a joint tee-off in the second head of state invitation golf tournament, and in the presence of President Akufo-Addo, sat at a common table for the first time at a dinner gala. Really?
Yeah.
At the Menchia Palace. For since history?
That I don't know.
Wow. To lower the curtains on the golf tournament. Recently, the Asantini accused some government officials believed to be Achims of leading a crusade to bring the golden stool into disrepute. President Akufo-Addo had to move to Kumasi to hold a meeting with Asantini following Otumfo outburst. It was a sight to behold when the 2 traditional rulers stormed the Kumasi Royal Golf Club last Saturday morning, holding hands for a historic tee-off. They arrived together in Otumfo's sleek limousine and proceeded. In fact, they were photographed in polo shirts and then later on in the bow tie. Really, really nice indeed. And I think our traditional rulers need to use their power to do a lot more education, health, and also telling politicians to do the right thing.
Yes, but the follow-up story on the Ochene is on Citi News.
Yeah, that story is a bit troubling. It says Ochene escapes unhurt after car crash at Ankasi. Says Ochene Osajifo Omwecha for Penny on Saturday afternoon escaped unhurt when his car crashed at Ankasi, a village near Osino, on the main Accra-Kumasi highway in the Eastern region. All occupants of the car managed to escape unhurt. The Ochene's vehicle veered off the road into the bush to avoid colliding with an oncoming tipper truck. Hey, tipper trucks.
Yeah.
What will we lose if we decide that we should take all tipper trucks off the road?
We'll lose a lot because they do a lot of transporting of the.
But you need a radical solution. No?
Yeah.
If you give yourself 6 years and say you are going to replace all tipper trucks with a rail system, and then you say you are phasing them out gradually, because most accidents are caused with tipper
True,
trucks.
but in the local areas, so if you have a rail system crisscrossing the country and you need to move some sand or stone
You still need them.
some place to Adabraka, you
I was
not
talking
do
of
that.
trailer, the long ones.
The long ones.
Yeah.
Bernard, we need the smaller ones too, because the longer ones carry a lot of load, and not all our roads are designed to bear that load.
Okay.
I think the other question you must ask is, what is happening to the Kumasi Accra Road highway?
Okay. Now, there's a very interesting aspect of this story that I just don't know how to explain. It says, so Dotini was returning from a National Golf Awards tournament ceremony at the Mesha Palace. And then it says, the cause of the accident is not yet known, but City News checks confirm that the driver of the truck has been arrested by the Ochini security. Where's the police? When did Ochini security become part of the national security system? Ni amate kanaku. That's what he's reporting. Hey! Anyway, so let's move to something else.
Yes, I'll take you to Commander, page 5 of the Daily Heritage. Commander Sugar Factory decaying. Chief laments, describes neglect as distasteful. Now, the story says the paramount chief of the Commander traditional area in the central region, Nana Kojo Kru II, has expressed disappointment at the continuous inactivity at the Commander Sugar Factory. He described the endless neglect as distasteful and an affront to the development of the country. He explained that the factory, which was expected to provide thousands of jobs, both direct and indirect, to the indigenes and other Ghanaians, is wasting away due to its inactivity, culminating in machine decay. He indicated that a lot of the farmers who had initially gone back to crop production returned to sugarcane growing in anticipation of having a ready market for the produce, but had been left frustrated. We have written petitions and have gone to the presidency and the Ministry of Trade to meet all concerned, and still nothing is happening. We are very disappointed as to what is happening. This chief has been speaking about this sugar factory since we launched it, and it's not been working. Now, Bernard, the sad part is that the Commander Sugar Factory, the Suchari Sugar Factory, they were all part of the sugar rehabilitation project, which was started in 1972. And in 2014, 2015, we awarded a contract, and the thing is still not working.
But because politics has entered, the sugar will not taste nice. The thing is just, I don't even know what they will do, because if you listen to the two sides, it's like accusations and counter accusations. So that sugar factory is not going to come back.
What we have to
anytime
do
soon.
is to study the report of the sugar rehabilitation project, which assessed our sugar production capacity across board, which recommended that we should plant plantations, which there are a lot of recommendations. If we are to follow it, maybe we can get some of these things working.
Well, coming to from loss of revenue to saving revenue, an MPA has saved 1.8 million Ghana cedis, preventing petroleum smuggling. So the National Petroleum Authority has in the last 8 months accrued an estimated revenue savings in taxes, levies and statutory margins amounting to 1.8 million Ghana cedis. The amount was accumulated from impounding bulk road vehicles, BRVs, engaged in export diversion and smuggling, who were made to pay their statutory penalties and appropriate levies. This covers the period from September last year to May 2018. And it also goes to give the details of how much was smuggled and through which particular places.
Still on that sector, fuel prices to drop again this week. Also, we need an authority to propel petroleum hub, and then all marketers pull for full employment under cylinder recirculation. The one that I like is the one to do with the fuel prices. Price of petroleum products are expected to drop by about 2% this week. This is the indication from Citi Business News' checks with players within the petroleum industry following developments on the global market. This will also be the second time in less than a week that fuel prices have reduced this June. And then with the reduced prices at the various pumps, consumers should be buying a liter of petrol for 4.75 pesos. This means a gallon of petrol could cost you 21 cedis, 38 pesos, down from 21 cedis, 83 pesos. We understand that this is because petrol prices reduced on the global market as supply has outstripped demand.
Now, more stories from the oil space. Dangote takes over Ghana's oil market. That's the headline. But the actual detail doesn't really point to that. Now, the story says that ahead of the completion of the Dangote oil refinery, petroleum importing African nations and bulk oil distributors based in Ghana have expressed eagerness to patronize the Nigerian plant when production starts. The oil buyers said arrangements had been put in place to import petroleum products from the world's largest single-train refinery situated in Lekki, Lagos State, and owned by the foremost industrialist, Aliko Dangote. This was reviewed at the GIPCON conference, which we partnered to organize. Now, at the same event, the man in charge of oil and gas for Dangote, Engineer Soyode, said that they are building this refinery, which is a 650,000 barrel per day refinery, at a cost which is 50% less what the Nigerian government.
Meanwhile, the same paper says no washrooms for bank customers. Gabriel Donker reports that a survey conducted by Business Day has revealed that most banks in the country don't have restrooms for their customers, a situation which has become a matter of grave concern to many stakeholders in recent times. Clients queue for long hours in the various banking halls and have to walk out of the bank premises to use washrooms of nearest neighbors. And then they list the banks that they went to which did not have washrooms. So the question is, if your bank doesn't have a washroom, why do you give them your money? If you don't have all the money they get, they can't even create a small urinal for you. You should talk to their bank manager.
Yeah.
Well, moving from banking into technology, and at the FinTech Summit in Accra on Friday, the CEO of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, Archie Hesse, has called for a technology regulator to control information and communications technology applications and infrastructure. He explained that the regulator would ensure the soft and hard ICT infrastructures as well as products and services to ensure they were foolproof and meet international standards. Mr. Hesse made the call at the FinTech Summit in Accra on Friday, organized by Citi FM.
It was actually on Thursday.
On Thursday, organized by Citi FM as part of our business festival.
I'll give you a Ghana car story, and then I'll give you an MTN story, Bernard. Now, the finder says that fake Ghana cards of minority MPs regrettable, NIA. They released a statement over the weekend when some people circulated Ghana cards of minority MPs, which generated some conversation on social media. Now, the NIA says that that is not true. Now, if you go to the Daily Graphic, page 16, MTN to stagger share proceeds repatriation. You know, last week, the conversation on social media was how the Citi was depreciating. And I had a conversation with a friend who said that should MTN repatriate all their funds from the IPO, the Citi was going to suffer more. Now, the Bank of Ghana boss says that the central bank was engaging the management of MTN to ensure that any foreign outflows of the IPO were done in phases and in an orderly manner.
I'm sure you know that one of the reasons why the Citi struggles is the repatriation of.
Yep.
Because people come and make money in CDs and convert the money to dollars and send back to their shareholders.
And that's one other reason why the government must look at the free zones concept.
Very important.
It's costing us a lot. You must look at the free zones concept.
No, I mean, the idea is great, but how is it being implemented?
Yes.
Now, let me bring you a Nyantechi reaction on my journal online. I was asked to pay 150K to cancel screening of Anas expose. Nyantechi tells his side. This story says former GFA president Kwesi Nyantechi has vowed to fight corruption allegations against him following the investigative documentary by Anas Arimaya Anas. Mr. Nyantechi has responded to all the allegations in a press statement, painstakingly explaining what he says is his side of the story in the matter that resulted in his suspension from World Football Governing Body FIFA. Here's a quote: "I did not receive any monies for myself or on behalf of the president, the vice president, or any senior government official. Let me clarify that His Excellency the President, the Vice President, and Deputy Ministers and senior government officials had no prior knowledge or subsequent knowledge of all the discussions contained in the video," he said in the release.
Well, coming to the final quickly, and effective July 1st, the number of agencies undertaking joint inspections at the ports will be reduced from 16 to 3. So the 3 that will be in operation at the port will be the Ghana Status Authority, Food and Drugs Board, and Custom Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority.
So there will only be 3?
Yes.
Out of 16.
The Vice President.
So what happened to the 16?
He said they all be merged with the other agencies to do the work. Now, Dr. Inin says that excluding the knock-up from this process will be a problem.
So, sorry, who are the 3 that will remain?
The Ghana Standards Authority,
Revenue
Ghana
Authority.
Revenue, Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, and Food and Drugs Board Authority.
So this is to streamline the activities of the port.
Yes, and to reduce the stress within the system. 2 quick headlines, Bernard. Ibrahim fights bauxite case. This is the Daily Guide. And illegal mining, poisoning water, land and food. This
Still?
is business. Yes, still. It's still happening. We've not won the fight against illegal mining.
That was a newspaper review with Kojo Akotoboating and Eji Akokusapon. Coming up next is the Citi Business News. Stay tuned.
This is this. Total Exalium, the fuel that cleans your engine kilometer after kilometer.